As you can see here, this is the final budget report that I have created. As you can see, there's quite a bit of information that is listed here in the spreadsheet. What I have done is I've gone through each of the sports and I have valued things that I feel that might be a little bit out of the price range or not needed to be put into the sports program to start out. You'll see here that the first, as you can see, are looking at the women's volleyball team. There's a lot of things that I feel that they needed, kind of like the net or the travel sweatpants and jacket, the uniforms, of course. The next here, as you can see, is going to be the women's soccer. There's a lot of things that you can see here on the budget that they don't really have specifically that is going to be needed to really break the budget given. The next, as you'll see as we move on to the next portion, looking at some more of the sports, the men's basketball and even the women's basketball, what we're going to see is that there's going to be a lot of things that were way too pricey, especially the shoot-around assistance machines that did not really fit into the budget, that could be bought later on in the program's existence and really can benefit later on. Next, you'll notice here is the women's softball team. There's a lot of things that I felt that they needed, especially in terms of the uniforms, but not maybe the bags that they needed to roll around with. It just seemed like it was redundant. The next slide that's going to be coming up here shortly is going to be talking about the more of the women's softball team and looking ahead into what other sports are here on the budget report. You'll see here that the next is cheerleading. The cheerleaders had quite a bit of things on their budget that I felt could have been either taken care of through donations or fundraisers, or could be done as a team building activity. There are things that they do specifically need, like uniforms, undergear, so when it does get to those cold football games, the tumbling mat, the pom-poms, the rainwear, so that if it does rain at some of the events that they're in, they can be protected. Those are, I feel like, the essentials that really helps to keep that sport going. The next you'll see here is the basketball program. I believe that is actually the men's basketball program, where again they are also a part of that cutting of the shoot-around machine. I just felt like as if there is no need right now to keep that because it is really expensive and they can always just either fundraise or get some other type of funding to get that piece of equipment. You'll see here next is the men's volleyball program, the football program, the wrestling program, and finally then the men's soccer team. You'll notice here that there's a lot of things that they didn't have to be cut. The football program, to be exact, did only have maybe one or two things that may have needed to be cut because of the mere fact that there needed to be some type of cut down for the budget to fit in within the $60,000. They seem to have quite a bit of things that were already in existence, especially here also with the wrestling program. But the big one that really got cut down was the men's soccer team because of the mere fact that they needed so much. I mean, I did give them the ability to have the goals, which is fantastic because they do need the goals in order to participate in the game. But things like practice uniforms, other things that could be used elsewhere in the budget really did not need to be in there. Next, you'll see here some of the things that I had to cut away from each of the areas of the budget. The men's basketball program, you'll see here bench chairs and the chair caddy, and of course that shoot-around assistance machine. I felt as if the bench chairs and the chair caddy were very obsolete. They didn't need to be in there because of the mere fact that they could either use chairs provided by the school, or they could just use the bottom step of the stands. Again, you'll see here with the cheerleaders, t-shirt guns, shoes, away uniforms. These are things that I felt like were not really needed to be put into the budget, especially the t-shirt gun, the shoes, the away uniforms. Those things could be bought another time, or they could be bought, especially the shoes, could be bought through some type of fundraiser. You'll see here with the women's basketball program, the Huddle video service, that is actually there is a free service that is provided through that company that could be used instead of paying the $99. You'll see here with the field hockey program, I cut some of the water bottles that needed to be purchased or was in the budget. The pop-up goals, they could be using other pop-up goals or other goals from the lacrosse team. With the baseball, you'll notice that they had quite a bit of high-priced machinery that needed to be maybe purchased later on once the program got a little more developed. In the track program, as you can see here, they took a large hit because of the mere fact that they needed new backpacks. I didn't really feel as if they really needed that at the time. The discus cage, of course, that is for safety reasons, but at the same time, I felt that they could do some fundraising to try and maybe meet the goal of the rest of the budget. You'll notice that there's a lot of other things along the budget needing to be cut in order to keep within the time of, or sorry, within the budget price.